Hey everybody, this is Chris from SermonAi. I'm glad you could join us. In this video, we're going to be looking at our brand new sermon writer. So if you click here on Sermon Writer, you're going to see immediately that we have two different ways to write your sermons now in SermonAi 4. We have our classic writer, which is basically just a word processor with infused AI to help you. And then also we have a block writer, which basically allows you to write your sermon block by block. So your first block might be a title, your second block might be a scripture verse, your third block might be a text block with an introduction, and so you can do it block by block. Just helps you to strategize each part of your or section of your sermon a little bit better. But it really depends on what your taste is, and you can mix and match it however you like. In this video, we're going to be looking at the classic writer. So this is the brand new SermonAi Classic Writer. Now you can adjust the size of this any way you want just by grabbing the corner. You can also maximize it if you want it to be full screen. And again, you can always turn off your toolbar if you really just want to focus on writing your sermon. And this is where you write your sermons. And so it's basically just a word processor. And again, dark mode is here. If you like to write in dark mode, you can, or you can do it in light mode. Either way is fine. And you can also always just shrink this right down, and you can move this anywhere on your screen. So for example, if I wanted to have my sermon writer, but I also wanted my Bible tool open at the same time, I could do that, and I could open them both at the same time, or I can move them around however I want to move them around. So that's kind of the idea of our new desktop or dashboard. But with the sermon writer, you'll see that it's a pretty traditional classic word processor. We'll just start at the top here. This arrow will take you back to the main menu, where you can choose block or classic writer. This file is going to allow you to create a new sermon. So you want to start all over from scratch. You can just hit new. Yes, I know I'll lose my work that I've done, and I have a blank screen. I can start a brand new sermon. I can also open a sermon here. So this will list off in the database all the sermons that I've saved. I just click the one that I want and click open, and boom, I have my sermon that I was working on, and it's opened. I can also come over here and I can save my sermon. And in our new version now, once you've saved your sermon, you can come over here and turn on autosave. And this is going to autosave every few seconds. And you'll see green check marks here. It's just like that. So you can see that it's flashing. You know that it's been saved. And that when you see that flash, that means it's been saved to the database and you're safe. Save as allows you to duplicate your sermon, rename it, and make it something different. So if you wanted a starting point, you could do that. Download is going to allow you to download your sermon in a PDF, a Word document, or a text file. You choose. And then print is going to allow you to send your sermon to the printer and manually print it out and on paper. So that's what the file menu does. The view menu is going to give you your spell check. So if this is turned on, and you can turn this on or off. And you'll notice we have a button here too, just for convenience. So you can turn it on or off there, or you can look at it right here and turn it on or off. And that spell check is basically just going to put the red squiggly marks under any misspelled words. And if you click on them, you can edit them. Very traditional spell check. In addition, you'll see here, edit sermon metadata. And I'd like to talk to you about this for 1 second because it's important. With every sermon that you create, we're going to allow you to enter in as much metadata as you want or as little as you want. And this is just going to talk about what the series, if it's part of a larger series, how many sermons in the series, what topic is this sermon about, what passages did you use, what kind of tags you want to tag it with. And you can give it descriptions and all of that kind of stuff. Where did you preach it, how long, and all of that. And when you save this metadata, I'll show you why it's going to be important. We're working on this right now, but you see where it says My Sermons here? This is your SermonAi cloud. And this is where you save all of your sermons. And what you're going to see here, here's all the sermons that I have saved on the cloud. And I can organize these any way that I want, by title or by type, or I can drag and drop these into folders, and I can create new folders right here. We'll have a whole video on this separate. But one of the things I wanted to show you is your Analytics tab. We're going to be building out, and it won't be ready on our initial launch, but shortly thereafter, this will be ready. When you click, it'll probably say coming soon. But this is going to allow you to use that metadata and to use AI and to look at trends. So it can say your average sermon is X long. You typically preach on these types of passages, but you haven't preached on any of these types of passages. And just to help give you pastoral advice. In addition, you're going to be able to share your links to your sermons. And sharing those links is going to allow you to get feedback. And you're going to have the people who see can give anonymous feedback on your sermon. So basically you can create a share link, and I'll show you how to do that in the new video. And you send that link to anybody you want in your congregation. You can send it to everybody in your congregation. They can respond to it, and it's going to tell you basically how they felt that sermon performed, what they liked, didn't like, etc. And those analytics are going to show you then what you preached on, the passages you preached on, the stuff maybe you've missed, how people are responding, and really give you a really nice feel for how your preaching ministry is going. So that's what your metadata is here. Templates, we have both pastor sermon templates and style sermon templates. And this is just going to allow you, we never recommend push button sermon writing, obviously. This tool is for pastors with a good heart and a desire to please God and honor God and write their own sermons. But certainly you don't have to start with a blank page. And certainly it's perfectly okay to say, hey, how would Adrian Rogers have dealt with the passage that I'm about to preach? And I could put in here, Romans 3, 1-3, and I can hit generate sermon. And it's going to give me a sermon in the voice, and we've worked very hard to duplicate and create personas that are accurate in the voice of Adrian Rogers. Just to be clear, we do have a disclaimer. These are AI-powered sermons that we're generating. They are not affiliated in any way with the people that we're generating them in their personas. But you can see here we have a bunch of different personas pre-built. And by clicking on this little add button here, and we'll get to this in another video as well, but you can also create your own custom personas for your templates and then manage your own custom personas. So if you wanted to build a persona of your own self, you could. So that's what the templates are. Those are pastor templates. We also have style templates. And style templates are like doctrinal or exegetical, expository, topical, those types of things. And so you could just pick what, maybe I want to write a topical sermon on John chapter 3, and then I would just hit generate, and that would generate sermon text for me. And I can simply insert it right into my sermon here, and then I can start to work on it, customize it, make it my own. So that's sort of what the templates button do. The convert section here, this is a whole series of tools for after you've finished your sermon. So let's say I wanted to convert my finished sermon into a Bible study guide. I could do that. If I wanted to convert it into a youth sermon or a small group format or devotional or social media series, maybe I want to put posts out on X or on YouTube or on Facebook, this will create a whole media series for you. Maybe I want to do a presentation with images and graphics, and I want to give that to my presentation team to have it playing up on the screen while I'm preaching my sermon. This button will allow you to do that. We partner with Gamma on this. We're looking at building our own tool eventually. For now, we're using Gamma because they're the best. And the way this works, and I'll just show you very quickly, if I click the presentation button, it's going to tell me that it's copied my sermon information to the clipboard already. And I hit OK, and it's going to open up Gamma. And you literally just paste this in and hit the Go button down here. You pick what you want. Do you want it exactly the same, preserve your exact text? Do you want AI to summarize things? And you just pick what you want. And you just continue to your prompt editor, pick the style you want, and hit Go. And that's going to build an entire presentation for you. You'll have links that you can share to look at the presentation online. You can download it as a PowerPoint. And with Gamma partnering with us, you're going to have up to 4 sermons each month, or 4 presentations each month for free. If you want more than that, you can sign up with Gamma. We don't make any money on it at all. This is really just a partnership because it's the best. They're the best. And so that's going to allow you to create your presentations. You can also get a bulletin summary. Just turn your entire sermon into a bulletin announcement that will engage your congregation, and they can follow along when you're preaching. And then finally, a sermon outline. With one click, I can take an entire manuscript sermon and turn it into a nice outline, preachable outline. So those are your convert tools. In addition, we have over here our standard tools while we're working on our sermon. So Passage Finder will allow us to find passages of Scripture. So if there's a passage in Jesus walks on the water, and I don't know where Jesus walked on the water, I know it's in there, I can just click Passage Finder and type in Jesus walks on water, and it'll give it to me. Or I can just type in a passage or verse, and it'll give me the Scripture, and I can drop it into my sermon. Thesaurus is going to help us find alternate words to enhance our message. So if I wanted another word for enter or another word for backsliding or whatever it is, I can use my thesaurus and it'll give me some suggestions. Grammar Correct is going to go through the entire sermon. So if I click this, it'll go through my whole sermon and look for grammatical errors and fix those. YouTube Transcript is going to allow me to enter in a YouTube video link, and that will turn the entire video into a transcript that you can drop and insert right into your sermon and then customize and tweak however you like. Listen to sermon. This is going to allow you, and I can just show it to you very quickly here. Paste your sermon in here and convert it right to speech, and you can pick whichever voice you want and click Convert to Speech, and you'll get an MP3 audio file that you can listen to, download, and take with you. We've made a lot of improvements on this. This is our tool now rather than using someone else's tool in SermonAi 3. and there's not a length issue anymore, so you can do, you know, a whole hour-long sermon and convert it to text. You can also, in this new tool, upload an MP3 file and convert your audio into a transcript. So if you had audio from a sermon you preached and you wanted to turn it into a written sermon, you can do that here as well. In addition, we have sermon evaluation. If you click this, it's going to go through your entire sermon and it's going to evaluate it as though it were a seminary professor, and it's going to grade your work and give you feedback and clarity. Generate images is going to allow you to create pictures that you can paste into your sermon, or maybe it's a handout, or maybe it's a you know, some kind of a trifold or something that you're doing for a class, and so you want to put some pictures in there or maps or whatever. You can generate images here. Just type in the text of the image you want. It'll create the image for you, and you can drop it in. And then clippings. Clippings are just your thoughts and ideas. So when you have thoughts and you have ideas, and you can manage them right here as well, you could just add new clippings. So if you read something online, you liked it, you could copy, paste it in. Maybe it's an illustration or something, and create a new clipping and drop it in. And then you can just insert those clippings. So I'm writing my sermon, and I think, oh yeah, I had a thought about that. It's a clipping, and I can go in and I can just drop it right into my sermon. So that's what clipping does. Again, over here we have our autosave, and we have preview mode. If I click on preview mode, that's going to give me a nice little preview of the sermon and what it looks like without being in sort of the writing mode where I'm writing the sermon. So that's what that is. These up here are going to allow you to size your window or your modal while you're working. So if I wanted to make it bigger or smaller, I can do all that right here. And then you also have dark mode right here. Don't forget, so if it's nighttime and it's hurting your eyes, you can just switch right to dark mode. And then, of course, you have all of your tools here for doing all the formatting of your sermon. So, for example, you have your undo and your redo. You have your fonts and your font sizes here. And you have your paragraph style here. You're also going to have, you could change your text case. So if you want to make everything highlighted uppercase or everything lowercase, you can do that. Your line height, you can adjust the line height here, bold, italic, underline, you know, your alignment, how you want to align your sermon. Bullet points, numbered list, check boxes, copy, cut, and paste. So if you want to copy, cut, and paste your text and move it around, you can do that. This is going to allow you to insert a link to, maybe you have an image, or maybe you have a website and you want to drop a website hot link in there, you can do that. Add images. Change text color. So if I wanted to make this red, let's say, I could just highlight the text I want, click on the palette, and this is my text color or my background color. I pick which one I want, and then just click red. And you'll see here now that's red. You have your superscript and subscript. So if you're doing like 9 to the 3rd power and you want to make that little 3 high on the letter and small, you can do that, or low on the letter and small. This is your spell check. This allows you to drop in graphs. So let's just say I wanted to make a chart and I want it to be 4x4 blocks. I can just do that. And you see now I have it. And I can, maybe in my sermon, it's easier for me to read like this. So I could be like topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. And so this is just a basic graph here for you. And you can add or subtract blocks to your graph and lines to your graph right here. So you just click these buttons here and you can add however many you want. And this is going to insert horizontal lines. So if maybe you have a Bible passage and you want to drop a line underneath it before you start your next section, you can do that. This tool is really cool. What this is going to do, it's a sermon formatting tool. If I click this, it's going to copy everything that's on my screen into raw text. And I just click format. That is going to format everything. It'll maintain my text for me, but it'll format everything so that it's beautiful with, you know, title and subtitles and bold and colors, and just really make it look nice and professional. So that's a really nice formatting tool. And all you have to do is literally click one button and it'll format the whole thing for you. And then this last one here is if you wanted to add a code block. So if you were a programmer typing code or something, you could do that. Probably will never be used, but it was standard with the toolkit, so we put it in here. So that's basically your classic sermon writer. The last thing I'll show you here is that anytime you want, we have AI infused into the writer. All you have to do is just highlight text. So if I were to highlight this paragraph, for example, you see this pops up. Whenever you highlight text, this will pop up. And I just click the down box here, and I can say, summarize this text for me, or improve the writing for me, or simplify the language, or expand upon it, or trim the content, or maybe I want to change the tone to be a little more formal or casual or professional. And so all these AI tools are built in. All you have to do is highlight the text and just say, you know, expand upon this thought, and boom, it'll write it for you. and you can choose to accept or reject it or retry and just keep doing it until you get what you want. But that's your infused AI tool, and it's built right into the system. And overall, that's basically the classic writer for SermonAi. In the next video, we'll look at the block writer, but if you have any questions on the classic writer, you can reach me, Chris, at SermonAi.com. That's Chris at SermonAi.com. And until then, happy sermon writing, and I hope you enjoy the new classic writer.